to use a template to cut bangs, but it's certainly helpful. Now at this point, they're not going to look very attractive because they're going to be straight, they're going to be sticking all over the place. They're not a done deal at this point. So you're going to have to put a slight curve in it before they start looking the way that they're supposed to when they're on the face. And your next step from here, you're going to take it off your template. And that's what they look like so far. You've got a decent cut to them. If you see any strays like I do, that's going to drive me nuts to look at. So I'm just going to flip it on. V-bangs, if you're going to put clips on these, which I highly recommend, you can't do it on the reversible ones because you can't have clips on both sides without too much of a headache because you're always going to have to cover them. So your clips are always going to be exposed on one side or the other. On the ones that are cut, you're going to have clips on the one side to hold them down. So these are a weaving clip or a toupee clip or a wig clip. They go by a lot of different names. Basically, they're a snap clip with a rubberized back and teeth on one side. They slide into the hair and snap shut. Make sure that when you sew these on, that the teeth are side up and the backing is to your piece. Now, for anything that has these side pieces on them, you'll need 3 clips. If you were going to do a piece that was just this shape, you could get away with 2, 1 on either end. V-bangs always need 3. You can't get away with 2 even if you don't have the side pieces. And that's a little different than the other ones. You have to have that because when you have a V-bang, you have to be able to angle the sides up and down. That's what's going to determine how sharp your V is. If you just put the 2 in the sides and then your V sags in the center, it's going to look more round. And if you wanted it to be more sharp, you're going to have to go the other direction. When you sew these on, you don't have to worry about these holes. These are just grommets that basically hold this clip, the teeth, to the main body of the clip. The main holes that you're going to be concerned about are these 2 end holes here. So we're going to go through that first hole, through the left, and back through your thread. Couple good stitches. Okay, so just a couple stitches here. And then moving on. Now, before you go to this next hole, what I like to do is I go underneath the weft so that it puts your thread underneath the clip. It's not something you have to do, but it does hide the thread from sticking across the top. So from there, we're just going to do the other hole and do a couple of stitches there. Okay, and you're going to sew the other 2 clips on just in the same way. And then you're going to have clip in the center and another clip on the end. Now that you have your clips sewn onto your piece, the next step is to take this hair that's now perfectly straight and give it a little bit more of a realistic bend so that it would curve with your natural forehead. So that's what we are going to do. Now if you've made these out of synthetic, you can't do it. Well, if you use shapeshifter, you can do it with a flat iron, but if you use silky braid or something that's a lower temperature, you'll want to use a wet heat, like a steamer heat. and then put them over a curved surface, and then like a mannequin head, if you have a styrofoam head, do it over that and then brush it with an extension brush to push all of the hair in that direction. Human hair is a lot easier to work with for fringe sets just because you can just go like this and then you're pretty much done. That was probably a little bit too much curl though. So we just want to put a slight bend into it because what you're trying to do is follow the curve of the forehead, not really give it so much of a curl. You still want to have it be sharp. Now try to stay away from the rubber backing on your comb clips. Since we only use those two holes, what we can do is we can actually flip these up and get them out of the way. So that we'll have a little bit easier time. This is another important part where your hair has to be perfectly straight. So if you haven't had it straight this whole time, you'll want to make sure to really get that straightened out. If you don't put the bend in these, this is the time when you'll start to see like pictures online of people that didn't put this bend in, and when they put the bangs on, they go scoop up straight like that. It looks kind of crazy. So now that you've got your bend in it, I'm going to show you how to actually install these. Your cut style fringe, you're also going to need to take and cover the top wefted part, just like you did in our swoop style bangs. But these ones are a little bit more simple to install. You're basically going to take the clip, slide it into place, and snap it shut. Now the middle one is always the one that you want to put in first. So push down and you'll hear it click. Now from here, you can really see you have to use 3 for the V-bangs, and you can see why at this point. The more that you push them down like this, the sharper that V is going to get. The more that you draw them back, the rounder they're going to get. So if you have 2 at either side, you don't ever have that pivot point in the middle, which you really need. So hopefully these are straight. Move this over actually a little bit. Hard to get at the top of the head. So in up here and up here. Always checking for symmetry. Your V-bangs are really susceptible to that because they are so sharp. So look in the front, and if you need to adjust, make your adjustments then. And then you're basically going to take a piece of your fabric and just cover this line, and then you're ready to go.